Tonight on Cronkite News, position players report to the desert as the second wave of spring training gets underway.
Plus, the University of Arizona hires its newest athletic director who is tasked with handling the current budget issue.
And the number of migrants crossing the border has dropped across most of the country, but in Tucson there has been an increase. Find out why coming up. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Sammy Miller.
And I'm Ethan Tuttle. Thank you for joining us.
The wait is almost over, Ethan, as we are just one step closer to opening day in the MLB. Across the league, position players either reported or will report for spring training this week.
That's right, Sammy. As here in the desert, we'll see half of the league work off the rust from the winter in hopes of chasing a World Series.
With it being the first full practice of the year, it's leaving coaches and players excited for the next few months. In particular, the Kansas City Royals brought in a huge overhaul of talent during the offseason, which has owner John Sherman and manager Matt Quatrero excited for the future.
Time will tell, but pretty excited about the new faces and kind of the, combined with our promising young core, we'll kind of see where we are. Excited about the work that JJ and the front office has done, certainly in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, to see everybody in the room. It's, always feels a little weird because most of the guys have been here for a while, but just to get the official start of the camp going, just messaging, take advantage of every opportunity, take advantage of today, be excited about what you have to do. We've had an exciting off season, but, none of it matters unless you go out there day to day and perform.
The Royals play the Texas Rangers at Surprise Stadium on Friday at 1 p.m. for their first spring training game. And potentially some major news coming out of Salt River Field as the owner of the Diamondbacks, Ken Kendrick, made some interesting comments about the team's long-term future here in the Valley.
There are opportunities available. It's not where we are spending time or energy. We may run out of time in Phoenix. We hope that won't happen.
University of Arizona has announced its next athletic director earlier today. Desiree Reed-Francois was the AD at Missouri for nearly 3 years until she signed a 5-year contract with the Wildcats. The hiring comes at a pivotal time as the school has been dealing with financial struggles. Reed-Francois has worked in college sports since 1997, where she has been a trailblazer at every stop she's made on her path to Arizona. She will serve as the first female athletic director in University of Arizona history. And with Arizona's move to the Big 12, the school will look to her to guide them to a new era of athletics down in Tucson.
Sticking with the Wildcats, Arizona welcomed Arizona State down in Tucson this past Saturday, and something noteworthy always seems to happen when the two rivals face off. Remember that buzzer beater last year when ASU stunned Arizona on their home court? Well, that was out of the minds of the newly 4th-ranked Wildcats as they took down the Sun Devils in blowout fashion. Cronkite News reporter Jonah Krell was in Tucson for what turned out to be a historic victory.
Bucket after bucket after bucket. It rained and then poured for Arizona in its Territorial Cup blowout of ASU on Saturday. With Arizona being projected as a #1 seed earlier in the day by the NCAA selection committee, the Wildcats flexed their muscles and fed off an electric McHale Center crowd with a 105-60 win over the Sun Devils, the largest margin of victory in the matchup's 246-game history.
If everybody limits, one more mistake, we get fewer more turnovers, we can be a high-level team and we got a chance to win it all.
The tone was set in the first half as the Wildcats shot nearly 68% from the field. As Arizona's defense backed up its offense, it went into the break with an 18-point lead that only grew from there. It was a full-on team performance, with 6 Wildcats scoring in double figures.
Everybody came into the game ready. First group came in, did their part, and JB in the second group, they took it from where we left off. So you can just see, it's another game, but, it's still more history behind it. So we just do it for Tucson. We do it for Tucson, do it for the whole state of Arizona.
Almost exactly a year ago, it was in this spot where ASU shocked Arizona on a 60-foot Desmond Cambridge Jr. buzzer beater. You would think the Wildcats would have been out to avenge that loss. But that shocker was a non-story today. After all, it's Arizona and ASU. Enough said.
We did not watch one clip from that film. And listen, if you need extra motivation like that, you're probably not competitive enough.
I mean, today and age, we got cell phones, we got social media. That's everywhere. Everybody posted it, so it's hard to miss that one. We just gotta keep keeping our head down and get it when we at their crib. That's gonna really, we need our get back. You know, they got us here, but we gotta get it back at their crib.
And that get back game at Desert Financial Arena is only less than 10 days away. In Tucson, Jonah Krell, Cronkite News.
Next up for the Wildcats is a matchup with Washington State on Thursday, which has major implications for the Pac-12 Conference regular season title, as the Cougars sit right behind the Wildcats for first place. But now let's talk more about ASU. This hasn't been the season the Sun Devils were hoping for, and last Saturday's game could be viewed as a low point in the Bobby Hurley era. Cronkite News reporter Paul Schultz is here to discuss how the Sun Devils ended up in this situation and if there is any chance for a postseason bid.
Yeah, Sammy, the last time these two teams met was just less than a year ago when Desmond Cambridge Jr.'s buzzer-beating shot gave ASU an upset win that sparked the team's surge into the NCAA tournament. But this year's team looks a lot different. Sitting at 500 now, the Sun Devils are likely on the outside looking in for a March Madness bid. ASU lost a lot of players from last year's squad, and the new players haven't quite lived up to expectations. It was evident in Saturday's game the Sun Devils were overmatched. A lack of physical size and strength allowed the Wildcats to wear them down in a hurry. Head coach Bobby Hurley acknowledged after the game that Arizona was the bigger and better team and that his squad isn't prepared for the big moments as some of his past teams.
Unfortunately, at this moment, it doesn't look like, we have an NCAA tournament team, but I'm gonna refrain from talking about the state of the program. I think that's for other people to evaluate. I think we've fought and scrambled to have the record we have, and we are what our record is this year. This group of players is doing the best we can. We were overwhelmed today. We were outgunned today. We had very little hope today.
ASU is currently 13-13 with 5 regular season games remaining as they host the Washington Schools this week, followed by a rematch with Arizona before finishing the season with a trip to Los Angeles. The Devils finished last regular season 20-11 with 2 wins in the conference tournament and a first 4 bid to Dayton. Even if the team finished one out and finished the season 18-13, they would have to have a deep run in the Pac-12 tournament to try and make a case for a spot on the bracket. In the newsroom, Paul Schultz, Cronkite News.
Coming up next, an opportunity of a lifetime for one new ASU hockey player.
We will tell you more about the third goalie for the Sun Devil ice hockey team and his journey.
Also coming up, we have a look into your weather forecast for this upcoming week.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Yesterday, the Mercury's Brittany Griner had her jersey retired at Baylor University in Waco, Texas, where she played in college. This game was the first visit back to Baylor since her senior season 11 years ago. Coach Nikki Collin had wanted to retire Griner's jersey since she started at Baylor 3 years ago, but was delayed by Griner's detainment in Russia. Griner's jersey was lifted into the rafters at the new home of Baylor basketball, Foster Pavilion, and she even gave the crowd a one-handed dunk during halftime.
A rare opportunity came true for a club hockey player at ASU. In December, freshman goaltender Chase Hamm got the call that he would be joining the Division I team as their third goaltender. Our Eric List has more on the story.
Meet freshman goaltender Chase Hamm, a native of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and the most recent addition to the Sun Devil hockey roster as the team's third goalie.
My oldest brother, he was a goalie. He played a few years in the WHL, so kind of followed in his path. Went off to junior, and Buddy got me to come down here and play at ASU, and I kind of didn't really have much option for university hockey, and then yeah, it's kind of how it's been here.
I worked all summer to get Chase out of Saskatchewan. You know, he was kind of back and forth for where he was going to go to school, but he chose Arizona State, and we were happy to have him for the time that we did have him.
And then, in December, the goalie got the call-up from Sun Devil Division I program and head coach Greg Powers.
Greg called me. It was for sure kind of a whirlwind of emotions. I mean, playing junior hockey, this was a goal I had in mind, and I didn't accomplish it the way it happened, but I mean, I guess things work out for a reason.
Great. He looks really good. He's a legit goalie. And he was a legitimate junior A goalie in Manitoba League, and I think he probably is a little bit bigger. He probably would have been a Division I goalie, and now he is, and he is not out of place at all out there, like in any way.
Now for him, that transition also sees a transition in talent level. The talent that you see at Division I is a lot better than you're seeing at the club level. You're seeing guys that are top of the top, best of the best junior prospects that have all made and filled out Division I rosters.
D1, it's the top guys in every junior league. Those guys are the fourth liners too, so it was a big step. Took me a bit. The first few weeks were a little rough, but now kind of starting to put it together a little bit. The energy here is unbelievable. It's a really cool place to play hockey.
Since joining the team, Hamm has been embraced by fellow goaltenders TJ Semterfilter and Gibson Homer.
They've been super welcoming since day one, and I mean, they're incredible goalies too, so it's nice to be able to watch those guys be able to learn a little bit.
Right now, Hamm is taking it day by day and enjoying the opportunity that he has in front of him. In Tempe, Eric List, Cronkite News.
Most recently, Hamm got a taste of real game action for the first time versus Lindenwood a few weeks ago. And spring training couldn't have come at a better time as we've been experiencing some great weather this past week, Ethan.
Absolutely right, Sammy, but my only question is if the teams are going to be able to expect the same weather. To find out, we now go to Cronkite Weather Center, where our Anthony Remedios has all the answers.
Well, thanks, Ethan. As we just saw those pitch-perfect temperatures for college baseball opening weekend, we're going to look to see that trend continue this week. Starting with this evening, temperatures in the mid to low 70s this evening. So you might want to think about a barbecue for dinner or eating outside because it is going to be a beautiful evening here to start the week. Tomorrow morning, lows in the mid-50s here in the valley. A little bit cooler in Tucson at 49 degrees, but you are still going to want to bundle up if you're in the northern parts of the state, with temperatures averaging right around 30 degrees up near the Grand Canyon and in Flagstaff. But here in the valley tomorrow, it's going to be a beautiful day. Temperatures well above average for this time of year. 80 degrees in Phoenix and Tempe, and a little bit cooler as you get toward the outskirts of Cave Creek at 74 degrees. And we'll see that cooling trend continue throughout the state. 65 degrees in Sedona, 51 in Flagstaff, and even a little bit warmer in Tucson at 83 degrees. Now, we're not going to see a lot of rain in the forecast this week. Some light showers in the northwestern parts of the state at Kingman and the Grand Canyon tomorrow, and a chance for some light precipitation here in the valley on Wednesday. Now, we'll see that temperature drop to 70 degrees on Wednesday, but warming up back to the high 70s just in time for Indians Festival and the start of Cactus League spring training this weekend before cooling back down to the low 70s next week. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Anthony Remedios. Back to you.
Coming up next, a look at the news headlines from across Arizona and the globe.
Including a visit to the border where families are seeking asylum in the U.S. And the latest on the conflict in Gaza, including a historic hearing today at The Hague.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
This is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
This is CN Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
and develop your skills with the latest technology.
Welcome back. I'm Leslie Chapman here with your news across Arizona. The southern border in the Tucson sector has seen an increase in migrant searches. Our reporter Denzen Cortez is with us in the studio with more on the migrants still awaiting asylum.
Thank you, Leslie. The U.S. Border Patrol reports that migrant crossings have dropped by 50% since December. However, both the Tucson and San Diego sectors have reported a 60% increase in migrant apprehensions. This is caused by overwhelming numbers of asylum cases. I visited Nogales, Mexico, where migrants were waiting for their asylum hearings.
In a tiny hillside neighborhood in Nogales, Sonora, the sights and smells of domestic life are everywhere. But these homes aren't for people looking to make permanent roots. They are the ordinary artifacts of migrants, patiently seeking asylum, many from cartel violence. These migrants live just a 10-minute drive from the entrance to the border and just a few miles away from a new life. We met 22-year-old Marisol Sanchez Hernandez, a migrant seeking asylum with her family. She says they left because of cartel violence.
The cartels just threatened us, nothing more, because my husband didn't want to join them.
They live in a single room, no bigger than 84 square feet. She says they could feel the cold wind piercing their uninsulated walls.
We bundle ourselves the best we can with blankets.
Her daughter showing us the bed they sleep on.
For many U.S. citizens, this border wall represents protection of the country. But for many migrants here in Nogales and beyond, this border wall represents a barrier to hope.
Across the border in Nogales, Arizona, government officials understand migrant struggles and say the system has struggles of its own.
I mean, the Washington, D.C. is just ignoring it completely, and right now they're trying to figure it out.
Former Mayor of Nogales, Arturo Garino, has reasons to be mad as a recent border bill in Congress was blocked by majority Republicans, which would have moved asylum cases to Homeland Security for a faster review process.
Put it this way, I have Mexican friends across the line that have been waiting for their papers for 10 years, legally. You can't fix them from 2,000 miles away. You have to come down and look at things.
And to those who make it across the border, their journey is just beginning.
¿De dónde? Perú, México.
Those with family sponsors get a ride to organizations like Helping with All My Heart in Phoenix, founded by Cristobal Perez, that will connect them with their families.
¿De dónde? ¿De qué parte de México? Guanajuato, Río Guanajuato. Le damos mochilas, el kit de aseo personal.
We give them backpacks, hygiene products, let them borrow phones to communicate with family, and airport travel.
Perez says they get an average of 2 busloads a day, with the possibility of more. They have helped more than 40,000 people since 2022. One of them, Luis, fleeing the corruption in Colombia.
Hopefully the people understand that not all of us are bad. A lot of us just want to work.
Back in Mexico, Marisol and her children hope to be among the lucky ones boarding a bus to the U.S. soon. And against all odds, their optimism for a better life isn't dimmed by a steel wall. Reporting from the southern border, Denson Cortez, Cronkite News.
In January 2024, around 45,000 individuals were processed at ports of entry by CBP through appointments. Since introducing CBP One appointment scheduling, over 450,000 individuals have successfully used it. For the Cronkite News Bureau, Denson Cortez, we're back to you.
Taking a look around the world, over 29,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel-Hamas war since October 7th, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Meanwhile, hearings began today at the International Court of Justice in The Hague over Israel's occupation of land that is claimed by Palestinians. Family members of Israeli hostages gathered outside the court, demanding leaders of Hamas be charged with war crimes. The case is expected to take several weeks, and a ruling could take several months. The Palestinian foreign minister talked about what he hopes comes out of the case.
We do not expect from this proceedings in the ICJ, to bring us an independent Palestinian state. There is, a parallel track that we are working closely with. Yes, Palestine, state of Palestine is an integral part of this collective exercise.
Russia says it has defeated the last bit of resistance in the town of Avdiivka, completing the city's capture. This comes after Ukrainian forces were driven out over the weekend. Russia's victory comes just days before the 2-year anniversary of the initial invasion of Ukraine. An official says Ukraine's troops did not have enough ammunition. Last week, the U.S. Senate approved an aid package, which includes $60 billion for Ukraine, but the package must be approved by the House. And the European Union launched an investigation to determine whether or not TikTok is protecting minors on their platform. The goal is for the Commission to assess if the company owned by China's ByteDance is complying with rules for large social media platforms. The EU intends to reduce the risk of users becoming addicted to their content, as well as shield minors' privacy and safety. TikTok's age verification tools that prevent children from accessing inappropriate content, quote, may not be reasonable, proportionate, and effective, according to the European Union. That's it for your news headlines. I'm Leslie Chapman for Cronkite News. Back to you.
Now, turning 100 years old is a big milestone for anyone.
That's right, and after the break, we'll introduce you to a woman who's about to turn 100. But this woman will technically be celebrating her 25th birthday. How is that possible? Find out when we return.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome back. Later this month, a woman in Oklahoma will celebrate turning 100 years old, but it will only be her 25th birthday.
Yeah, so how is all that possible? Well, it's all thanks to leap year. Mary Forsyth was actually born on February 29th, 1924, which is leap day. And as you know, leap years only arrive every 4 years. So this year, she will have only celebrated 25 birthdays, and she looks great for 25. The community where she lives came together to celebrate her birthday early, Sammy.
Well, that's it for Cronkite News. Thank you so much for joining us.